We've driven further down into the New Forest, probably come down about 3 miles, and if I turn the camera around, and we'll do a brief walk. You see a horse in front of us. You see him minding his own business and just grazing away.
The cranes you can see ahead is Southampton. Not very far from Southampton.
Yeah, so quite some distance down we've got Southampton. I think it's about 20 miles from here. We're in Lyndhurst, and you'll see, got quite a peckish horse here grazing away. There's here. We've driven down about 3 miles. And just going to go towards the left here. You can see this whole area, it's pretty much free for all the animals to roam around. So I'm going to walk in this direction. Yeah, it is a beautiful area. I mean, you've been here yourselves here. We come here quite often, and it is actually a really nice area.
No, Pixie, they're not fenced in. They're free to roam.
What did Pixie say? They fenced in?
Yeah.
No.
In fact, the horses don't even belong to anyone.
No,
they're wild.
The cows do, but the horses don't. On our right, we drove past them, but on our right you'll see quite a few cows and horses. You can see one in front of us on the left, just sitting down. It's kind of a black one or a dark brown. But this whole area, it really is nice. I mean, especially when it snows, it's really nice. But the animals here roam around freely, and they, I think, seem a lot more happier for it. Okay, if I move to the right, should be able to see some cows there. Okay, if you can see them now. From driving in, horse and little, is it foal?
Yeah.
Foal? I'm not sure what they're called. Baby horse. From driving in, we've driven in about 3 miles. When we first drove in, we were with the cows right at the beginning, and a few more cows here. So we'll just pan around for you. Yeah, we are in the middle of nowhere. Literally, I mean, this whole area, for miles, it's just open land for these animals. This cow looks a bit grumpy. I think we're disturbing him eating. But foal, thank you very much, Pixie. But the yellow tag that he's got on his ear, they have on their ear rather, that's because they're owned by certain people, and that's obviously the owner's details. But the horses generally are not owned by anyone, they're free. And if you can see, I mean, I don't know how well you can see on the phone or the computer, if you're looking at it on the computer, but from our phone, I don't know how well you can see the vast size of this area. It's huge. Now, I'm saying it's huge compared to other areas in England, in the UK. Obviously, even if you compare it to places like South Africa or even in the US, there are areas that are slightly bigger than this, but it is big. This is a huge area, and these animals have a lot of ground, a lot of area that they can roam around in quite happily and freely.
So we're in the New Forest National Park, so it's free for anyone to, there's lots of pathways and walks and treks along here.
Yeah, it is very green. Obviously during winter time it's somewhat different, but since winter to now it is actually very green. So obviously it's changed based on the season. There is a road that's just one road, this road right here in front of us, that goes through the whole area. It's limited to 30 and 40 miles per hour, so it's not a very fast road, but it allows you to get from one point to the other, which is basically from the beginning to the end. There are, in between the 2 points, there are some areas where you can eat. So there are a few pubs in this area. There's a nice pub slash restaurant called The Pig. It's called The Pig, isn't it? Yeah, The Pig. Which is actually quite nice. That's probably one of the nicer ones here.
And we're not far from the sea. We've obviously got Southampton over there, but we're not very far from the sea either.
No, Bournemouth is about 15 or 20 miles from here, if that. I'm not quite sure it's even that far. We were looking at potentially going to Bournemouth, but I think we'll leave that for another day.
Yeah, it's a little bit overcast for the seaside today.
So I just missed that question. What do the cows do? And then by the time I got to it, it's just disappeared off Periscope. So if the question was, what do the cows do during the day? I think this is it. That's what they do during the day. We come here quite often, myself and Anne. We come here quite often. It's one of our favourite places. And quite often I say we're at one with nature. This is probably one of those few places that you can actually be very close to wild animals in England. What do they do when it snows? We've been here when it has snowed last year and year before, and I'm not sure what they do in terms of feeding, but they seem to huddle up quite a lot. So the cows seem to huddle up quite a lot underneath trees. The horses seem to be all together as well.
There's lots of areas where we often see them. Throughout the New Forest, there are little areas where they tend to congregate. One is by a lake, which we might be visiting later.
Yeah, and it's generally quite a few horses by that lake. Can they bear the coldness? I think they can. I'm pretty sure they're quite comfortable with the heat or the cold.
I'm not sure. The farmers might take the cows in.
There are some areas, by the way, or there is one area that we're aware of, where the animals are taken to be treated if they're hurt or injured, which is not far from where we are at the moment. Welcome again, Lucas. Good to have you back with us.
I don't think they mind being outside, because they're wild.
It's sad if they can't and they're just left outside. No, they are tended to. They aren't just left here. They are actually tended to, and they are looked after. Certainly, if there are any animals that are hurt. But the animals here are actually very happy, to be honest with you, because although they're enclosed in such a large area that they have a lot of freedom. I mean, honestly, this is such a big, vast space of land, and there are so many animals. Generally, a little bit further down, we're not going to walk it, but we will drive. There are some kind of bushes that have berries on them, and quite often when we've driven down here, we've seen herds of sheep stop and eat those bushes, and when I say stop, I mean and donkeys stop the traffic because it's actually on the road. So you've got to wait for them to have their feeding, and then when there's a space, slowly drive past them. But there is a lot of areas for them to eat. What they like to eat, I don't know, but it's obviously one particular bush that they all seem to love. Okay, we're going to walk back towards the car and go towards the water. In fact, if we find those horses or donkeys or cows or sheep, whoever it is who may be this time feeding off those bushes, we'll stop and periscope it for you so you can see this. But Otherwise we're going to go towards the water and maybe have some lunch. You can see a horse crossing the road there, and the car's now stopping for it. Hence why the speed, which is obviously slower in this area. But pretty much the animals rule this area. This is their area. Okay guys, I'm just going to pan around one more time so you can see. And we will now log off. We're going to the car, which is the white car you can see at the end there, and we'll drive down further. If there is any opportunities for us to periscope again, we certainly will do. Thank you very much.